So it's interesting that I'm waiting to watch Judge Judy, and there's a breaking news about the Tyree victim who was brutalized, well, basically viciously attacked by 5 Memphis police officers, and he later succumbed to injuries, I believe 3 days later. Oh man, even as I talk, I'm just hearing ritual. But you guys, listen, like the thing for me is just kind of pulling together, objectifying, the factors and things. And the quite obvious one is the fact that every interest party in this victimization and brutalization, they are African American. The victim and all 5 officers. So it brought me to a time to where I said, well, there was a reading about, Shanquella Robinson, how, that made national coverage. And there was a reading and I expressed as to, well, why is that, And then I was told in the channeling that it was because it was, dual. It was the same on both sides. And I'm specifically speaking of race, right? So that, of course, is capturing the attention. But I'm like, okay, I understand now. But then for this to turn around and happen, where we are now with Tyree and the 5 officers also being African American, like all 5 of them, you know what I'm saying? Like all of them, like, wow, y'all, are we not, still clear that this doesn't have anything to do with possession? Like, can we just get on one page and just say that has to be a demonic possession that's hovering over, a specific town, city, to where an incident takes place and then it receives national, international, even coverage. So while I'm scrolling looking for a video that reminds me of the Shanquella Robinson, it's not the one titled Shanquella, because that was one when I was specifically given the assignment of just seeing, what information could be pulled, esoterically to be able to help whoever the force is to be or behind that whole movement, try to understand what particularly happened. So I just, used myself as a vessel at that point. And I was given permission to do so, by the way. But there was another reading after that. I can't remember the title, but Shanquella came up in that. But while I was scrolling, I found a reading that was RTS. It says Return to Sender. So I started playing that. I said, well, maybe it was this one where I was speaking of it, because I just wanted to see if there was any reference mentioned to where we are now with the Tyree, this whole story now. And with the RTS toward the end, well, there were some moments, in between, but at the end, I remember given information right at the end of that reading to where there's a Queen of Wands who shows themselves at the press conference, or, whenever they're having some sort of speaker, or it could be the victim's family speaking out. But it's like, who is the person in the background who doesn't say anything, but it's like they have to be there. Even now that I'm saying that, I'm like, well, why would they put themselves in in the situation after the fact, like after they know that they've done a working. But then with all rituals, it's like they have to show you that there's proof that they did that. So it's like, are they showing up to say, yeah, that's me. You see me in the video, right? Okay, so run me my money. Are they, obviously it's like, duh, they're getting paid. I'm hearing for this sacrifice. They're getting paid for the workings, right? These dark magic practitioners who are plain-faced, but they have to be a representative of, I did that. I did what it was that you called for me to do. And now you see it's media coverage. I'm in the background. You can see me there. So yes, please run me my money. Y'all, this is what I'm getting now. But it's like, how sickening is this to even have to forcefully believe that that's what this is? Because what else can we call this? Y'all, there was another thing as I paused. There's another, because I'm being told to bring this up. There was another reading that I did to where, unfortunately, the truth that came out in this reading was going to offend others, right? But it had to do with people of a specific race who tend to rely on black magic the most. And now that I'm talking about return to sender, this is also coming full circle as well. That has to come back. So it's like, I want to say, leave black magic alone out one side of my mouth, but then also know that if you put it out, it's going to come back. It's going to come back. So if we're talking about a community who's always feeling as if they're being victimized, right? And obviously it looks that way and it feels that way. If we have family members who go through, racism's unjust, imbalance, but it's like, but what else is being done that's not being accounted for here? Like, what we have to kind of roll back the coverings, right? And start to diagnose, like, well, what else could be the matter? Y'all, I'm not a practitioner in dark arts. Let me just say that, like, if you follow me, I'm always pretty much, willing to put that information out there. I don't do that stuff because, things get handled organically for me. So I'm good on that. But it's hard to think that, or it's difficult, it's challenging to think that I have counterparts who feel the same way as I do, because I know that's not true. I know there's a lot of jealousy and hate, trauma, unhealed trauma from generational trauma, like that goes on, in our specific community. And I'm talking about African Americans or melanated individuals. There's a lot there that we're still kind of paying the price for. Anyway, this is going into a whole nother energy of collective feelings, and I don't want to get into any of that. I'm just saying, you guys, like, it's hard to see a mother on television having to address the media and not having the words to say because they haven't even had the chance to grieve properly of their child being part of this media circulation at this point, and how it is that they were brutalized and then ultimately died behind the hands of, let's add up all those factors, people who are in charge to protect and serve, right? A total of 5 of them against 1. And then the fact that they're all the same race as even the victim. Yeah, I mean, how do we begin to process that? So anyway, you guys, in summary, the whole point of this message is I'm trying to tie the energy to where specifically there has to be something deeper here that we're not acknowledging. The fact that we feel like we have to protect ourselves from our neighbors, our coworkers, even family. No, you guys, this is citywide. This is statewide at this point. People are given commands. Some like to say it's MK Ultra, but at the end of the day, I feel like there are I can't even say the word, y'all. They don't want me to say this. Practitioners who are hired to do work over specific cities and situations to bring media coverage. Like, how can we deny that at this point? There has to be some truth there. Because we're talking about how in the world is that even possible? Because possession is possible. Dark magic is very real. But the information that I said earlier about the person who's in the room at the press conference. You don't know why they're there. Well, they serve a purpose, but it's like the ritual energy. You know, they have to show you, they have to tell you, they have to show proof, you know. They have to put it in front of your face. They have to. I don't know that. I don't know that that's a written rule, but the energy tells me that. And then the other part of that was, I guess it's just a wake up call, guys. Wake up, wake up, wake up. All right. And one other thing to the people who are viewers, and y'all know exactly, because I can't remember a lot of times. I'll try to search, but then I get distracted and caught up into something else. But anyway, there was a reading, I think it was toward the end, that I said somebody might, be watchful, because there was like an energy of somebody being jumped. I believe that might be the reading that I was looking for originally before I ran into the RTS Return to Sender reading. But anyway, you guys, I hope this helps.